Welcome everyone to my first long format video in a while. And welcome to my bookbinding studio. It's literally just an extra room in my house that I spend an ungodly amount of time in. Last week it was my husband's birthday and I had the crazy idea to make a custom omnibus of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga. He just finished reading the whole series and he's still kind of obsessed with it at this point. So it felt like the perfect gift. I knew I wanted to make a video about it. And I gotta be honest, manga fans go kind of hard when you tear the cover off it. It's way different than any of my other book tearing videos. So I expected to get a ton of hate. I expected it to just come pouring in. I thought I would be the most hated person on the internet. But it turns out that a lot of people liked the end product and they were asking to buy it. They were asking to marry me. All of those things have been a no. There was, though, one major concern with the book. I'm serious, so many people commented this that it got me thinking about ways to make this request a reality. And besides, I am nothing if not a dancing clown for requests of strangers on the internet. I do want you to know though that what you're about to see next is not my fault. When you think about it, it's actually kind of your fault. And by you, I mean the people of the internet. It's like that time that the internet bullied the Sonic producers into recreating the entire design. So in order for me to remake this book, I have to tear it apart. I have to break down everything that I've done and build it up from scratch again. This is your official trigger warning. I do have footage of this process. Since so many of you really liked the end product, I almost feel like this might be worse than tearing the covers off the manga, so avert your eyes, fast forward, do what you've got to do to protect your heart while I tear apart my husband's birthday present. And he agreed through all of the drafts that he liked the final product better than the original. So in this video, I am going to be recreating the Jujutsu Kaisen Omnibus, a couple changes, a couple tweaks, and I think you'll be really happy with the end product, even if you hate me for what's going to happen next.
After reading the comments, I also decided to make it volume 0 through 3 instead of through 4. This will make it a lot easier to read, and also it will make everything more even going forward with the rest of the series. Whenever I do a glass painting, I always draw my image in Procreate and print out the stencil first. It just helps me to be consistent in the color choices and the line work. Also, I know there's a typo on the title. I really don't want to talk about it, okay? I used an oil-based Sharpie pen for the line work. This is important because then when I paint over them, the lines aren't going to smear because it's oil-based. It's videos like this that got me into anime glass painting the first time around, but probably more aesthetic than how I'm able to do it. A couple of comments said they weren't very happy about the glitter outline on Yuji, but I actually really need it this time because the glitter is going to hide any potential mishap when it comes to lining up the glass paintings. I'm using nail glue to actually connect the two glass paintings so they don't shift around now that I have them in the position that I'd like them to be in. Making the cutout by hand last time was actually super difficult, so I wanted to see if I could make my Cricut do the cut for me. Yeah, no. I tried it again with a different setting, and it almost cut all the way through, which was good enough for me. I just had to run through it with my box cutter one more time, and then it was done. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Before we can make the case, we should probably prep the text block, since it has to be glued and has to have some time to dry. I've had a couple people in my comments, and I'm not sure if they're trolls, but they keep saying, haha, you put the cover the wrong way. And I think it's important to note that you don't read manga the same way that you read books. You actually read it starting at what Americans consider the back of the book and read the opposite direction, as shown on this first page. While you can buy end bands on Amazon, I prefer to make mine out of matching book cloth scraps for every bind that I do. It's actually a really simple process. You just have some twine, some book cloth, and glue, and you can paint it, fold it down, and use your bone folder to make a ridge along the edge. And it looks really good with the finished product. Prepping the spine includes cutting the headbands to fit at the top and bottom of your book. Attaching mull. This is what reinforces your spine, and it's actually what holds the text block in the case. And then I like to sandwich that all in with some paper. As some of you noticed, I use pages from Twilight or other scrap paper that I have. Okay, now we can work on the case. I'm planning on using 2 different thicknesses for my book board. I have the one on the left, which is the one that I use normally, and then I have a thinner one that I use for my spines. That one's actually going to be the inside of the sandwich of the glass paintings. This is incredibly hard to glue and really awkward to hold. I haven't had to claw grip since I got Dark Souls 1 hitless. I really hate filming when I work with black book cloth because it shows every piece of lint, dust, fuzz, whatever, and it's just kind of messy looking. I'm not really a big fan. However, I am a big fan of books with black covers, so here I am. The reason that this piece needs to be covered in book cloth is because it is visible from the outside of the book, and I chose for it to be entirely covered because after I do these folds on all the curves and edges, it gets really, really lumpy on the inside, and so I'd rather hide that and not have any texture peeking through the end pages when everything's all finished and glued together. After making a couple of cuts, now we have our front cover, our back piece to the glass paintings, we have the spine, and we have the back cover. Putting the case together was very simple. It's the same as every other case that I build. The only place that it differs is at the end when we apply the book cloth. I thought I was recording. I was not recording. I'm very sad about it. Once again, gluing this shape is like really difficult to do. It's not very fun. It slows down the process a lot, but I do think it's worth it in the end. After trimming some things down, the process is exactly the same as the piece that we created for the back of the glass paintings. The glass painting's a little big, so I have to trim it down. And then I get to do the best part ever, which is removing the protective layer. Secure the paintings down with my trusty nail glue. It's time for a quick test fit, and then I have to glue it together. Since this is thicker because there's 2 paintings and I'm not sure how exactly it's going to adhere, I decided to put it in the press just to be extra sure.
Okay, this is the scariest part of this tutorial, of bookbinding in general. You gotta make sure
your book is facing the correct way. It's a little trickier because I am not Japanese, and so it's a little unnatural for me to make sure that this is the front of my book, but that is the way that you read manga. The issue I'm facing now is I have to die cut I gotta cut the mole right here. See how that's kind of peeking through there? And I need to cut the end pages. And I've got one shot to do this correctly. So the way that I did this last time, I took this little piece, I put it right in the pocket, okay? I took a piece of tape and did the fancy little roll, okay? Put it here. This is crazy. Put it here. Made sure everything was lined up exactly where I want it. Push in the spine. This is already trying to move on me. Push in the spine and close it. Pushing down on poor Yuji's face. Ta-da! And that's where I need to now trace and carefully cut this out. Remember when I said that was the scariest part? Well, I am a big fat liar because every single book I make, almost every single time, and I've been doing this for 2 years, always has this part where I have to blindly trust that everything I've done will work and all my safeguards will make it so that this is a fully functional book at the end, and it is just terrifying every single time. Every single time. And then something like this where it needs to be so specific and so cut out just adds to the horror of the experience. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in. Okay. Check. Everything's where I want it to be. And close. I've seen a lot of people pick this up and peek underneath to make sure that there's no bubbles, but that has never worked well for me. So I typically will just flip it over and do the other side, which is a lot less scary. This side I can manage. This side's no big deal. The new piece of scratch paper to protect the pages from glue. This one's faster too. You just throw that glue on there. Like I said, I don't even peek. I just take plexiglass, just in case any glue decides to escape when it's in the press. And then put it in the press.
Moment of truth. It is exactly what I envisioned, but let's take a look at the inside. Here's the best part. Just like so many of you wanted, we now have Sukuna behind Yuji on the inside cover. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed showing this process to you guys, and keep a lookout for the next video. We're gonna have a new character on the front of the next volume. Leave a comment with your guess of who it might be. And if you like this video, give it a like, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!